Yo, what is going on, everyone? My name is Nick, or the Notorious Fantasy, and in today's video, we are going to be doing Week 4 quarterback start or sit decisions for fantasy football in 2020. We are going to go over every single matchup from Thursday all the way until Monday night, or maybe even the Tuesday night special that we may be talking, or that we are going to be talking about later. So make sure that if you guys do end up enjoying this video, you like the information, you had a great time, please make sure to hit that subscribe button down below, because not only is it free, I put out content every single day to help you guys win that 2020 Fantasy Football Championship. Before we get into it as well, I'd like to give you guys a quick word from my friends and my sponsor over at OverlayDFS.com. OverlayDFS.com is my favorite place to play daily fantasy football. Now, why is that, Nick? It's because it is the easiest place to play and the simplest. All it is one player versus another player, plus or minus the spread. Now, some games don't have a spread, other games do have a spread. It's very simple. Which player scores more fantasy points, plus or minus the spread? For instance, here, we have Ezekiel Elliott versus Nick Chubb. Who scores more fantasy points? Ezekiel Elliott minus 3 points or Nick Chubb plus 3 fantasy points? It's so simple that anyone can do it. It's so easy. You guys do all this research to win your weekly matchups in fantasy football. So why not make some additional cash on OverlayDFS.com? Make sure you guys check that out. Link down below in the description. Now we can get back into it. Week 4 quarterback start or sit decisions for fantasy football in 2020. We begin on Thursday night with probably the worst quarterback matchup we will see all year. Brett Rippin Siggs in this game up against Sam Darnold. Now, in this game, if Sam Darnold and the Jets are not able to win here up against a quarterback that you've probably never heard about, then the Jets are screwed. I expect Adam Gase to get fired on Friday, win or lose this game. I think the only reason why Adam Gase was not fired after last week's terrible performance up against the Indianapolis Colts is because they had a game on Thursday. It would have been too hard to install like a new type of fucking coaching system there without Adam Gase being there just 4 days later. Realistically, I think Adam Gase has completely took this team straight down the shitter, and it is just looking atrocious. So I think that Sam Darnold really has no chance to do anything in this game against the Broncos defense. That is pretty good. I expect both defenses in this game to put up some solid fantasy points because it's going to be an absolute snooze fest. But neither quarterback here, Sammy Darnold, is not going to be a start. Same thing goes with Brett Rippin Siggs. Next game here to start off the Sunday slate, we got the New Orleans Saints at the Detroit Lions. In this game, I like both quarterbacks. Now, Drew Brees has looked like a limp dick version of a quarterback. His arm needs some Viagra, but with that said, Drew Brees will still be able to play quite well up against the Detroit Lions. I understand last week, Kyler Murray actually looked really not that good up against the Detroit Lions. It seems like the Cardinals were 2-0. They're on a fucking heater. They're on an absolute bender destroying these teams, and then they kind of fell asleep up against the Lions, which should have been the easiest matchup they've had so far, and they falter in that game. It was more of a trap game for them, and they end up losing. Now, up against the Lions here, I think that the defense doesn't play as well because Kyler Murray kind of just choked a bit in that game. I think Drew Brees puts up a solid game here. I would be worried about starting him, though, if Michael Thomas does not play in this game, because it seems like the Saints offense is really just revolving around Alvin Kamara. I really don't think that Drew Brees even has top 10 potential this week, even against the Lions, because with Drew Brees, all they're trying to do is dump the ball off to Alvin Kamara without Michael Thomas, and the only bonus, the reason why Drew Brees is still scoring fucking touchdowns is because he dumps it off 3 feet away from him to Alvin Kamara, and Alvin Kamara runs 70 yards down the field, puts the team on his goddamn back, and scores a touchdown. So with that said, I still do like Drew Brees in this game. Matty Snapback, Matthew Stafford is a start pretty much every single game. Now, he has not played well enough up to my expectations. Now, this may actually be due to the fact that they are running the ball a decent amount, more than they have in the past under Matt Patricia. Now, Matt Patricia may also be on the hot seat. That guy with a pencil in his ear probably has it straight shoved up his ass because this guy is just a dumbass. With that said, though, I like Stafford and I like Drew Brees in this game. Stafford just looked so much better with Kenny Golladay back on the field. It seems like his whole presence in the game, he just looked like a much better quarterback due to the fact that he has one of the better wide receivers in the NFL on his team that he didn't have for the first 2 games of the NFL season. And Kenny Golladay said he wasn't even feeling 100% and still made a tremendous catch. So as the weeks go on and Kenny Golladay feels more and more healthy, I think that Matthew Stafford will look even better. And the Saints defense didn't look that great up against Mr. Discount Double Check Aaron Rodgers on Monday night. Next game here, we got the LA Superchargers at Tampa Bay Tom Brady. Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Tampa Bay. Tom Brady in this game is going to be a sit. This LA Chargers defense looks very good. The Chargers defense has played good up against Pat Mahomes, so I think Tom Brady is going to struggle in this game without Chris Godwin. Obviously, obviously dealing with a hamstring issue, could be out 2 to 3 weeks. So Tom Brady to me is definitely a sit in this matchup. I'm sure Mike Evans will do fine in this game, but that doesn't mean that Tom Brady's going to have a great game, because to have a wide receiver have one good game is much different than having a quarterback have a good game. So I don't think Tom Brady really does all that good in this game. This one's going to be, in my opinion, a lower scoring affair between the Chargers and the Buccaneers. I like Justin Herbert, the pervert, as a quarterback, but in this game up against the Buccaneers, I just don't see Justin Herbert putting up humongous numbers here up against that Bucs defense. Next game here, we got the Jacksonville Jaguars at the Cincinnati Bengals. The Bengals here, I'm starting Joe Burrow. I fucking love Joe Burrow. This guy's balling out in his rookie season in the NFL. This guy has no offensive line. He has a number one wide receiver who looks washed up, but it does not matter at all. Joe Burrow is balling the fuck out. He's running away from the line. He's going left. He's going right. He's dipping. He's dodging. He's ducking. He's doing everything to get out of the goddamn way. He's like when those fucking crazy guys throw axes at the woman when they're standing up against the thing, and they're going like, woo, 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 and the thing's just flying around them. That's pretty much what Joe Burrow is doing. All right, Joe Burrow is playing up against the Jaguars defense. We saw Ryan Fitzmagic last week of my Miami Dolphins absolutely pick them apart and dissect them like a frog in a high school lab. So I think that Joe Burrow is going to be able to put up quite the game here in Cincinnati up against the Buffalo Bills. I'm going to be sitting down Gardner Minshew, but I would be willing to start him if DJ Chark plays. Now, understand that if DJ Chark doesn't play, this offense just looks completely different. That doesn't mean I think James Robinson is going to have a bad game. If you watch the running back video, I talked a lot about James Robinson, about how I like him in this game. But Gardner Minshew just does not look the same without his number one target in baby Chark. So if he's not there, he's definitely going to be a sit for me, and we probably won't know about Chark until closer to game day on Sunday. Next game here, we got the Vikings versus the Texans, which this one was one that could be delayed, but this one I feel like is going to be played on Sunday. The other game we're going to be talking about later maybe played on Monday or Tuesday night. In this game, I'm definitely starting up Deshaun Watson if this game happens, which I assume it will. Watson definitely has not looked great as of recently, but this is a very juicy matchup for Deshaun Watson. That Vikings defense just is not very good, and Deshaun Watson is going to be able to have quite the game here after having kind of not that hot of a start to the season for Mr. Deshaun Watson. Both of these teams are 0-3. I'm going to be sitting down, Mr. You like that? Kirk Cousins in this game. I don't think he's going to be screaming that all that much, considering I don't know. He just hasn't looked good. He's throwing a lot of picks. They're running the ball a lot. So I don't really trust Kirk Cousins at all. The only player I really trust on the Vikings besides Dalvin Cook is probably Adam Thielen due to the fact that he just gets a consistent amount of targets in this game. Maybe Justin Jefferson as well, but I'm just not too sure Kirk Cousins has all that good of a game here up against the Houston Texans. Next game here, we got my Miami Dolphins going up against the Seattle Seahawks in Hard Rock Cafe Stadium, the Dolphin Stadium. Here I'm going to be starting Russell Wilson. No shit. You could have guessed that from the beginning of the video. You didn't even have to watch the video if you're playing one league and Russell Wilson is your quarterback, because Russell Wilson is going to play good again against the Dolphins. He's played good all of the first 3 games of the NFL season, and there's a reason why they're calling this man the MVP thus far in this season, because he's balling the fuck out. He's dropping tutties into guys where I don't even know how the ball gets there. He throws the most beautiful pass in the NFL where it just does that rainbow arch, and the leprechaun, aka DK Metcalf or Tyler Lockett, are standing at the end of that rainbow, and they just catch it perfectly. It is the most beautiful thing. It makes your eyes nut. With that said, though, DK Metcalf last week obviously choked that touchdown where he was pretty much going to score a touchdown, but he started celebrating. He started hitting with the Neon Dion fucking high knees. And then Stephon Diggs' brother or cousin, I don't remember what his first name is, but Diggs on the Dallas Cowboys said, psych, and fucking smacked it out of his hands. But I don't expect that to happen again, because Russell Wilson gave him a nice stern talking to on the sideline, pointed his finger at him and said, Dikembe, no, you will not be doing that again. And then DK Metcalf redeemed himself later in the game. So I think Russell Wilson's going to have a great matchup here up against the Miami Dolphins. Would not be surprised if this one is a back and forth affair as well, because the Seattle defense has looked kind of underwhelming this season. For the Dolphins, I like Ryan Fitzpatrick in this game. Put up a solid game up against the Jacksonville Jaguars. And in games where the Dolphins are going to be able to keep into the game, Ryan Fitzpatrick should look pretty good. Now, I do worry about the fact that he looked so good last week that he'll throw a pick or two in this game. But with that said, I like the fact that he's running the ball a lot, that in the red zone, he is willing to run the fucking ball. If they're on the 3-yard line, he'll take that shit himself and jump straight into his house up against the Seattle Seahawks. So I like Ryan Fitzpatrick in this week. Definitely a great streamer up against the Seattle Seahawks. Next game here, we got the Steelers at the Les Titans, the Tennessee Titans. Now, this could be Tuesday night football, something we've never really seen before because the game has been postponed from Sunday. So, it's either going to be Monday or Tuesday. I think they're going to honestly put it on Tuesday to give us some Tuesday night football. With that said, That should have no effect on fantasy. It should still count for week 4, so do not worry, guys. Do not panic at all. It should be perfectly fine. In this game, though, I don't like either of these quarterbacks because they literally can't go into practice until Saturday. They're practicing on Zoom for this game. The Titans are, and so are the Steelers. This game screams under. This game screams not prepared for the game because they're not going to be able to practice. So with that said, it screams rust. It screams all those things. I'm sitting down Big Ben Roethlisberger as well as Ryan Tannehill in this one. There's really no other explanation because Big Ben probably would have had a pretty good game here, but now the fact that he's not going to be able to practice, I do worry about that. And Ryan Tannehill does have a very tough matchup this week up against the Steel Curtain in Pittsburgh. Next game here, we got the Cleveland Browns at the Dallas Cowboys. In this game, I'm going to be starting up Dak Prescott going up against the Cleveland Browns. Just seems like another perfect matchup for Dak. Dak put up over 400 yards last week in that game up against the Seattle Seahawks. So I think that Dak Prescott will be able to play well again up against that Cleveland Browns defense. I'm going to be sitting down Baker Mayfield. Now, if you are in a deeper type of league, I wouldn't be opposed to starting Baker Mayfield in this game because I could see this one being very high scoring here because the Cowboys just put up so many points and Baker may have to toss the ball back into this game. But with that said, I don't really want to trust Baker all that much, so he would be a sit unless you're in a dire type of situation. Next game here, we got the Arizona Cardinals at the Carolina Panthers. If you guys have ended up enjoying this video thus far, please make sure to hit that subscribe button down below. So in this game, Kyler Murray did shit the bed last week. Well, he didn't shit the bed because he ended up playing pretty well, but he had a case of the runs because he threw like 3 fucking picks and just didn't look all that good up against the Lions. With that said, though, he gets another easy path here up against the Carolina Panthers defense. I expect a humongous bounce-back game from short boy Kyler Murray, the guy who can't even see over the line, but it doesn't even seem to matter because he's just rolling out of the pocket like Burrow, and he's looking to the right or the left side of the field, wherever DeAndre Hopkins is, and he just heaves it to him. He doesn't give a fuck about anyone else on the team except for DeAndre Hopkins. He just has locked-eyed vision. There could be 3 guys on DeAndre Hopkins, and he still throws the fucking ball to him, and most of the time DeAndre Hopkins catches it, so I think Kyler Murray is definitely a very safe bounce back call this week up against the Carolina Panthers. For sit, I'm sitting down Teddy B. Teddy Roosevelt in this game. I just don't feel confident starting Teddy Bridgewater on a weekly basis. Now, without Christian McCaffrey, this would probably be the only time you could do it because he is not going to get vultured on the goal line. They're going to run the fucking ball. But Mike Davis, Fat Mike, has looked pretty good in the last in the last 2 games that he's been playing. So I think Teddy Bridgewater would still be a sit here for me. Next game here, we got the Indianapolis Colts at the Chicago Bears. 9-inch Nick versus Philip Rivers. Philippe Rivers of the Indianapolis Colts. Now, I think that this one could be a high-scoring affair, but it's going to be a lot of running by the Indianapolis Colts at the hands of Jonathan Taylor. I really don't see Philip Rivers putting up all that big of a game up against the Bears defense. Nick Foles is going to will this fucking team to win. I believe in 9-inch Nick Foles. He is one of my favorite quarterbacks in the NFL due to the fact that no one gives him the respect that he deserves. And with that said, I don't think he puts up an amazing game here up against the Colts defense, but don't be surprised if 9-inch Nick heaves 5 fucking tutties in this game. Next one here, we got the Baltimore Ravens at the Washington Football Team. Now, I understand Lamar Jackson, oh man, he looked atrocious up against the Kansas City Chiefs. Lamar Jackson has never won a game trailing from halftime. But do you really think he's going to be trailing this week up against the Washington Football Team? This is a prime start, a prime bounce-back week for Lamar Jackson. He's going to be pissed off, and he's going to be pissing all over that Washington Football Team defense, especially without them having Chase Young for this week as well as potentially next week. So I like Lamar Jackson in this game. I like him every week. You have to expect the MVP of the league from last year to have a bounce-back game up against the football team. I'm going to be sitting down Dwayne Trash Can Haskins. He's not even that trash of a quarterback, but with that said, I just don't really trust him all that much on a weekly basis to be the guy that I want to be starting in my lineup because he's probably going to throw just 1 touchdown and maybe throw a pick or 2 in this game. And up against the Ravens defense, it's definitely scary to start a guy like Dwayne Haskins. Next game up, we got the New York Football Giants at the LA Rams, and this one is just going to be a absolute ass ramming by Jared Goff and the LA Rams. The Giants defense is fucking terrible. It is legitimately useless to even put 11 guys on the field. The Rams could beat them if they had just 4 offensive linemen and had like 2 wide receivers out there. It does not matter. The Giants defense is that fucking bad. It is straight up invisible like the ghost Sam Darnold was seeing in that primetime game last year. So I think Jared Goff is going to put up a big game here in this spot up against the New York Football Giants defense. That's more like the New York Football Giants because all the fans are on, oh man, they are on some shit about being very angry about the Giants football team. I'm sitting Danny Dimes in this game. After this week, the schedule is looking brighter. There is fucking sun on the other side of the wall after these games, but right now, this is not a premier spot. Aaron Donald might literally pick Daniel Jones up and fucking crack him on his knee like an angry baseball player with his bat. That may end up happening to Daniel Jones because their offensive line is dog shit, and Aaron Donald legitimately is the scariest human being I have ever seen in my life. If I had to take Aaron Donald or a bullet to the head, I probably have a higher chance of living from a bullet to the fucking dome because of how big Aaron Donald is. So I think that Daniel Jones is pretty fooked in this matchup. Next one here, we got the New England Deflatriots at the Kansas City Chiefs. In this game, I like both quarterbacks. Patrick Mahomes, obviously a locked and loaded start on a weekly basis. You drafted the guy early in your draft, so you're going to have to play him. Here up against the Patriots, I'm sure Bill Belichick will make sure that this isn't a game where Pat Mahomes puts up a zillion points, but I do still expect him to be a top 10 quarterback on the week. Same thing goes with Patty Mahomes as well as Cam Newton. Now, I understand Wham Bam Cam Newton didn't play that well 2 weeks ago, looked much better up against the Raiders last week, and I expect another good game here up against that Chiefs defense, even though Baltimore Ravens looked bad against the Chiefs, but I think that's just because Lamar Jackson is a certified choke artist when down at half. Next game here, we got the no one circles the wagons like the Buffalo Bills at the Las Vegas Raiders. In this game, I'm starting up Josh Allen. Josh Allen looks like he could also be the MVP of the league along with Russell Wilson. This guy is dissecting defenses. This guy is making throws we thought Josh Allen could only make in his fucking dreams. Okay, Josh Allen is going to look great up against the Raiders. He is going to look amazing. This guy is a fucking beast of a man. Josh Allen legitimately is not scared to truck over the defense. It's actually beautiful. This man is huge. He runs, he sees a corner, and he's like, hey, bitch boy, come over here, and he fucking trucks the guy over. It's so beautiful. Josh Allen is my favorite quarterback in the NFL, I would say, probably besides Gardner Minshew. I like Gardner Minshew a lot too, but Josh Allen is one of my favorite quarterbacks besides Tua as well, because that's my Dolphins quarterback. I love Fitzmagic as well, but Josh Allen's a guy I've always been a fan of, and in this game up against the Raiders, I think this is a perfect matchup for him to potentially put up another 300-plus yard performance here, as well as a lot of work on the ground. For the Raiders, I'm sitting down Derek Carr. Derek Carr is just a safe play in like a 2-quarterback league on a weekly basis, but nothing super special this week up against the Bills' tough defense. Next one here, we got the Philadelphia Eagles Sunday night special up against the San Francisco 49ers, the Philadelphia Eagles versus the 49ers in San Francisco. This one is going to be a snooze fest as well. Carson Wentz versus Nick Mullins or Jimmy G. I don't even know why the fuck they would play Jimmy G, because Nick Mullins put up a big game last week, and I wouldn't be surprised if he's able to do it again here up against the Eagles. So I wouldn't start either of them in this scenario, but I do think that they'll be fine in real life, just not starts for fantasy. Carson Wentz has looked absolutely atrocious. This O-line is selling him up a river, and he has made very bad decisions even when the offensive line is blocking correctly. So I think Carson Wentz is worthy of being cut straight off your fantasy team. This guy just does not look good at all, and I don't want to be starting him on a weekly basis, especially up against the 49ers, even if the defense hasn't looked all that good due to injuries. Final game here, the Monday night special, which also could involve the Les Titans versus the Steelers could be playing here, or they could be playing on Tuesday, like I said. But Falcons at Packers is the scheduled Monday night football game, and I like Matty Ice in this spot, as well as Mr. Discount Double Check Aaron Rodgers. I understand Matt Ryan had an off game last week, didn't play as well. I understand without Julio Jones, it is tough for Matt Ryan, who I doubt plays in this game, but I still think Matt Ryan will be able to put a nice game up here up against the Green Bay Packers defense. Even Drew Brees, young noodle arm, was able to play well up against them last week. So I think the man with the ice in his veins, Matt Ryan, should be able to put up a solid game here up against the Packers, those cheesehead fucks. Defense for the Packers, Aaron Rodgers is on his comeback tour, his pissed off tour, his why the fuck did you draft a quarterback in the first round instead of giving me another wide receiver tour. It's just simple arithmetic. The guy's been playing well, right? Now he gets the Falcons defense that plays like shit. Pretty simple. Shitty defense versus good quarterback. The quarterback typically does pretty good in fantasy football, so I like Mr. Aaron Rodgers, Mr. Discount Double Check in this game. So thank you guys all for watching. Again, if you ended up enjoying, you made it all the way here, and you're new, make sure you hit that subscribe button. If you're not new, make sure you hit that like button. I love each and every single one of you guys. Make sure to check out overlaydfs.com. Link down below in the description. Have a great rest of your guys' day, and I'll see you motherfuckers tomorrow with another banger of a video. Goodbye!